What's up, buddy? Is it wet over here? Of course it is. It's wet everywhere you go, isn't it? God, you're a mess, buddy. Lord. Can't take you anywhere, buddy. Can I? Well, come on. Let's answer some more questions for these people. Let's see. Cows drink about 50 gallons of water a day each. They'll spend about 6 hours a day grazing and eating and things like that. And then they'll go someplace and sit down and chew their cud for another 8 hours per day. So if it seems like they chew a lot, that's because they do. What else, buddy? Cows are very social animals. Obviously, that's why they run in herds. But Highland cattle are found in folds. They are the only cow that has their own name for a group. All other cattle are found in herds. But Highland cattle you find in folds. And the name fold comes from a small stone structure that the old crofters in Scotland would sometimes keep the animals in to protect them from really bad storms and things like that. What else, buddy? Oh, let's see. Oh, the horns. Everybody's asking about the horns. You know, these horns aren't solid like a lot of people think, but they're not hollow either. And no, they're not ivory. Basically what a horn is you've all seen a cow skull. You know, the horns come out from the skull. It's bone. It's a living tissue. And that bony protrusion is surrounded by blood vessels and tissue and things like that, and it's all surrounded by a creatine shell. Creatine being the same thing as our fingernails, basically. And that's what that is. That creatine is the horn shell that you see. They don't use these horns for attacking people. Mostly what they're used for is for digging up under the snow and brush and hay and stuff to get to the stuff they really want to eat. Now they do use them in self-defense. Usually it's more of a case of a mother defending her calf. But even at that, she's still probably not going to gore you. She's just going to run you down. One of the greatest benefits of these horns is that they are full of tissue and blood. And in the heat of summer, all that blood is coursing through there, and these horns act like giant radiators, and it helps keep the Highland cool. People say, well, why don't you just shave your Highland? Well, you can't really do that. See, that's the funny thing about insulation. It works both ways. It does help keep the Highland warm in the wintertime, but it also helps keep him cool in the summertime. If you were to shave him down, not only would he probably get sunburned, but he'd probably overheat as well. Now you will see some Highlands without horns. In most of those cases, they have either been cut off. You know, some people do it for different reasons, but you know, I don't happen to agree with the practice. And the other way is to burn them off when they're young calves. I mean, we're talking, you know, days to weeks old. There's a chemical that you can put on the spurs to keep the horns from growing. Now, a lot of people do prefer to have hornless Highlands. You know, there are a lot of arbiters and bushers in the UK that won't take horned cattle, which is odd considering that's where they came from. But here in the US, a lot of them won't deal with horned cattle. But things like 4-H groups and things like that, a lot of 4-H groups won't allow horned cattle to be shown. Which is kind of sad. You know, you've got this kid that's got, you know, a bunch of Highlands and he loves them and he wants to show them. But he can't because they've got horns. You know, and I can understand it from a legal standpoint, I guess. Everybody nowadays is so quick to sue somebody else, try and get some money out of them. They don't want to take a risk of, you know, somebody being at a show with a horned Highland and, you know, little Bobby comes along and slips in a pile of cow manure and whacks his head on the horn. You know, and he gets up screaming and mom runs over and now she starts screaming because now her kid's covered in cow shit or he's got an egg on his noggin. You know, so I can understand why they don't want to deal with something like that, but I think there should be allowances made. You know, the horns are part of the breed standard of Highlands, and they should be allowed to participate as such. You're getting up, aren't you? All right.